Can you see my screen, students?
Yes, sir.
Kindly mute your mic. Rahul, Rahul Biswas. Okay, I'm requesting all of you, please mute your mic. If you have any query, you can unmute and you can ask. Otherwise, you can mute your mic. Okay. So considering your laboratory assignment, there are total 5 laboratory assignments. First lab assignment, which is based on client server architecture. So in this particular lab assignment, we are going to make a client server communication using any programming language like Java or Python. So in this lab assignment, you have to make two different codes, one for client and one for server. The client will send the request and server will respond to it. So this is nothing but implement a client server architecture to design the given software systems, right? The next assignment, which is based on analyze and design system based on OOAD, object oriented analysis and design. We have to make a separate design, or we have to analyze a particular design to build any particular software system. So this is the second assignment. The third assignment, which focuses on the creational design patterns. In the creational design patterns, by using any particular language, you have to choose that suitable language to make that creational designs, and also to specify the requirements in that particular design. That is done in assignment 3, which focuses on the different types of the design patterns. The fourth assignment is based on the implement a creational and behavioral design patterns. So when I consider the creational design patterns, so what are the different types of designs we have to make a more creational or more good user interface for that particular software will be considered. In behavioral point of view, we will see the functionality, we will see the operational part of that particular software, and be considering that the design patterns will be made, or the different designs will be prepared. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Then next,
Yes.
yeah, right. The next assignment, which is based on study and submit the report for any MVC based framework. So this is any particular report you can generate, any particular framework, MVC based framework you have to use. So considering all 5 assignment, today I'm going to focus on assignment 1, which is nothing but the client server communication. Considering these particular assignments, so I'm focusing on the programming, like Java programming for this to complete this particular assignments. Okay, so in this, I have to first brief you about the client server communication, how to make the client server communication, what are the prerequisites to make that client server communication, what we have to do, what is serialization, what is deserialization in Java, how this is used to make the communication. We'll see one by one, right? So the first
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
So is it a compulsion to use Java for our first assignment? Can we use any other programming language?
Yeah, there is no compulsion. I'm just telling you, you can use any programming language, but I have used Java programming language. So with Java programming, how we can make the client server communication? You can use any other programming languages, right? To make the
Okay, thank
client
you, sir.
server communication, right? So considering this particular, the first important thing is serialization in Java. So in this, as we know, this is one of the important mechanism of writing the state of any object into a byte stream. So object will be converted into the byte stream using this serialization. So it is used for mainly remote method invocation for any in our Java. Then also the application programming API interfaces can be done with this serialization. Then Java persistence or enterprise Java beans. So for these type of the application, serialization is basically used. Or also the Java message services technologies, the serialization is used. And the reverse process of this is nothing but the deserialization. So deserialization is a process which can converts byte stream into the object stream. Okay, so this is deserialization. Similar to serialization, it's a reverse deserialization. So what are the advantages of this? Mainly serialization, deserialization, mainly used to travel the object state into networks. Okay. So whenever that objects will be, when any particular data will be sent, it should be that particular object will be sent into the streams. Okay. So from object to stream, from serialization, and from stream to object in deserialization. This is the advantage of this. In this, serializable interface is also used in this. So that particular interface name is java.io, Java input output package. So this is one package is used. So under the maker interface. So what is this maker interface? It has no data members and no methods is defined in this maker interface. So this is used to mark the Java classes and the objects of that class and get the certain capabilities of it to make that interface. So it can be also used as a clone or a remote to maker interface. So with this serialization interface, we can do it. So class can be marked as a serialized and object can be converted into the streams. Okay. So with this, class has to be serialized and the object will be converted into the streams with this serializable interface. Then next, how we convert this object into a stream. When I say the object to the stream, converting that object into the stream in serialization process. So there are some methods, there are some methods should be followed or some classes are used to do this particular thing. So one important thing is object output stream class is used. So object output stream class is used to write that primitive data types into the output streams. So whatever that primitive data types can be written into the output stream and the Java object into that particular output stream. So here output stream is nothing but whenever we are sending any particular object. So it can be written from that data, that particular primitive data types into that output streams. And in this case, that particular object of the classes which are marked serializable are supposed to be used. So for example, in this writing student object to the file, so we can use this object output stream. So any particular student object we can write into the file by using object output stream class. This is important thing here. The next, how to convert that stream back into the object. So here it is a reverse process. So that we called it as a deserialization. The process of deserialization is nothing but again conversion of stream into the object. So converting stream back to the object in deserialization process is happening. So this particular process is nothing but reconstructing the object into the serializable state. So for this, we are using the object input stream. When we are sending anything, we have to use object output stream. When we are getting anything, we have to use object input stream class. So object input stream class can be used, and this class is nothing but deserialize the Java object which are serialized previously by object output stream. And what it will does, it will deserialize that particular primitive data types which are written using object output stream. As I already told you, serialization and deserialization. So whatever done by serialization process, that is object output stream. It is reversed by using object input stream and convert it back into object form. So the example is that again, this deserialization student object to from the file. So whatever student object from that particular file, it will be taken. In previous process, we are writing that particular object to the file, and in this process we are deserializing that student object from that particular file, whatever written in the files, right? Is this clear to everyone? This is important concept because based on this serialization, deserialization, whole communication is happening. Yes. What is
Yes,
serialization?
sir.
Yeah. So, and two important thing, you have to remember two classes, that is object output stream, object input stream. So when I say the object output stream, the object output stream is nothing but conversion of object into the stream format. That is nothing but primitive data types to that particular output stream, writing it into any particular file. That student object is written on any file. Reverse process is called as deserialization, in that the object input stream class is used, and in that particular thing, that object, student object, is getting whatever written in the file. It will get it in the deserialization process, again reverse it back, okay, stream to the object. The next, here also the networking, few networking concepts are used. Why? Because we are communicating. Our client is communicating with the server. So client communication with the server, there is a process of communication will be established. So in this, the concept is important, that connecting two or more computing devices and sharing the resources. It is nothing but a simple networking fundamentals. So in this, we are communicating from client to the servers or any other many devices, and we can share this data. So we can easily do the sharing of resources, centralize the software management is possible using this networking. So the terminologies which are used in the networking, as you know, the IP addresses. This is nothing but important IP address, unique address, a logical address assigned to any particular node or a network or hardware. Okay, so this particular IP address is given to each and every machine. Then there are some protocols. So this is nothing but protocols, some set of rules which are followed to make the communications through client to the client, or server to the client, or to any other machines. For this, there are a number of protocols are there. Out of that, the important protocols I'm just mentioning here, that is TCP. Can anybody tell me the TCP protocol full form and use of it? Yes.
Transfer control protocol.
Transmission control protocol.
Uh, Transmission control protocol.
Yes. Then second, HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, UDP,
Transfer
User
protocol.
Diagram Protocol, File Transfer Protocol, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So these are the set of rules. So when I wanted to send any file, so I can use FTP, File Transfer Protocol. If I am accessing any mail, so I can use SMTP protocol, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, for my Gmail server or Gmail account. So these are some set of rules are already predefined for that protocols. Then the next important concept is port numbers. So port numbers are assigned for individual hardware components. So this is nothing but used to uniquely identify the different applications. So with the help of that port numbers, or we can use that port number to access or to make the communications from end to end between two applications. So we can use that port number to send the data or to get the data, and through that port numbers we can do that particular thing. So there is a range of port numbers, and these port numbers are used to do this particular type of communications with other devices, and that is dedicated port numbers or used for that particular communication, we can say. The next important thing is a MAC address. So media control access is again one of the unique identifier. Okay, it is based on your network interface controller, NICs. It can be again MAC address. So this is unique address for the hardware devices to identify that hardware with the help of that MAC address. At the time of manufacturing, the MAC address is given. Then next, the terminologies of networking, we have to also study these particular connection oriented protocols and connection less protocols. So I know that you have already studied this connection oriented and connection less protocol. Just revise it once again. I will do this, and then we will directly go to the coding part. So the connection oriented protocols is nothing but there is a fixed connection will be established, and then the acknowledgement will be sent to receiver, okay, to the senders. And this is the most reliable but slow communications. So for this connection oriented protocol, we are using TCP protocols. So based on this TCP protocol, the connection oriented services is happening. Connectionless protocol is nothing but our UDP protocol. In this, there is no acknowledgement will be sent. Okay, the no reliable, but the communication will be fast. And the next important thing is a socket. Socket is one that is endpoint between the two communications, two computing devices or two nodes. The socket is used to make the end-to-end two-way communications between these. This is clear up to this point, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Good. So next important thing I wanted to tell you here, the Java socket programming. So here we are doing the Java socket programming. So in the Java socket programming is used for communication between the applications which are running, okay, using Java runtime environment. So in this, we are using the connection oriented or connectionless. Okay, so you can do connectionless or connection oriented. But in this assignment, I'm going to show the connection oriented using TCP protocol, that is socket class is used and server socket class is used. Socket class and server socket class. If you wanted to go for connectionless services, you can use the datagram class, datagram socket class, or datagram packet class. In this, again, socket programming, you need to understand the client. In socket programming must be known the IP addresses which are going to be used, the host or host name server which is present there, or the port number which are going to be written in your code to make the communication with the server by using that particular IP addresses. If there are two different machines, so you can use the IP address of that server machine, and that IP addresses should be written. So connection oriented socket, when I say the connection oriented socket class is used to create that client socket. So it will create that client socket to make the communication. So the methods which we have discussed, the method public input stream. So get input stream. So get input stream is nothing but this method will provide you return the input stream attached with that particular socket. Public output stream, get output stream, what it will return the output stream attached with that particular socket. And then the synchronization is done. Okay, synchronize and then void close. So it is nothing but closing that particular socket. Whatever socket established, the communication established, it will close that socket with that synchronize void close method. Then this is the connection oriented. In this, again, the server socket class is used. So as I told you, the server socket class, it is nothing but used to create that particular socket. So server socket will create the socket. So object of that particular class is used to establish the communication between server and the client. So who is going to decide the connection is established or not? Using this server socket class. So when when we are creating the server socket class, so server socket class will taking care to establish the communication between client to the servers by using the two methods. The important method is public socket accept. Public socket accept method is nothing but it will return that particular socket and establish the communication between two, server and the clients. The next important thing, public synchronize void close that particular server socket. So in connectionless, similarly, we have discussed the connection oriented. So in connectionless, the classes are different. So first important is datagram socket is used, datagram socket class is used. So is representing that connectionless sockets for sending and receiving the datagram packets. So whenever we are sending and receiving, it can be used using datagram sockets. So what is this datagram? So it is nothing but basically one of the information, but there is no guarantee of that particular content will be arrived or it will be lost. And okay, but it will be a faster. Okay, so commonly it can be used for the constructors like a datagram socket throws socket exceptions. So it is nothing but creating the datagram sockets, okay, and binds with that particular available port numbers with the local host machine for making the communications. And datagram socket input throws socket exception. So this is nothing but it creates the datagram socket and binds with a given port numbers. The next is datagram socket using port, using address, and then the throw socket exception. There are again three constructors can be used. Using this constructor, we can make the communications. Okay, so here the datagram packet class is used. This datagram packet class as a, yes, this datagram packets class can be used to create packet of data to be sent, whichever to be sent. And for this datagram packet class, I think this is already discussed. Yeah. So how the actual communication is happening, that I will show you here. Can you see this image? So see here. So in this client and server, so socket is there. So in client first, open clients, and in the server side, there is socket, then bind, then the listen, and then the accept. And here, whenever the connection request will be sent to the server, server will accept method. By using that accept method, server will accept the request, and communication is established between client to the servers. Okay, so whenever we are making this code and whenever we are executing this code, first we have to execute the server, then socket, then it will bind, then it will listen, and then the request will be sent by the client, it will be accepted. Okay, and after accepting, the communication will be established. So client server session is there by using this yellow shade. Okay, so what is happening here? First client is writing, then server is reading. After reading, whatever read, okay, then server will write, then the client will read, and this way the read and writing operations is happening from client to the servers, and then finally close, it will end that particular file. Okay, it will read and it will close that particular socket. Is this clear? Yes, any
Yes.
difficulty?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I will directly go to the code part then. If you are clear, I will explain the code and then we'll execute that code and we'll see the output, right? Yes, so these are the classes. So I will open one by one class. So this is my client.java. Can you see this screen? Font is visible to you all? Please let me know.
Yes, it
Yes,
is
sir.
visible, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So see here, this is the client class. So for the client, what we have to do, we will start with the first import Java package. So which package? .NET is a network package. So for making communication, so we are establishing the communication from client to the server. So we need a networking package. So for that particular reason, import java.net.star networking package to make the communication is used. Next important package, java.io input output package. Okay, so to send a file, to receive a file by using input output package. So input output package class package is used here. Okay, then next we are creating one class. The name of the class is my clients. So my client is a class. So this class is having a main method, public static void main. So in this main method, first see here socket s. So we are creating here socket with the name of s equal to new socket. Here the local host. Why it is local host? If we are using the same machine, you have to use local host. If you are using a different machine, so you have to write the IP address of that particular machine. Okay, so I have only one machine, so I'm using only on single machine, I'm executing it. So for this reason, I'm using localhost. If your server is different with a server different IP address, so you have to mention the server IP address here, whatever it is, 172.16.1.60, whatever it is. Okay, so you have to see what is the IP address of my server, and you have to write that particular IP address here. This is the range of port number you can. So this port number we are using to sending and receiving. So with this 3333 port number, so you can use a range from 1000 to 9000. Within that you can use 6666 or whatever number you can use it. Okay, The next important methods which we have seen, data input stream. So what is the role of this data input stream? With the help of this DIN object, we are creating new data input stream and then s.get input stream. So data input stream will be used to read that particular data which comes from get input stream. Okay, whatever coming from server, it will get it from get input stream and then it will read here data input stream. Data output stream is nothing but d out. So d out object, what it will does, this d out object will out what it will out from object to stream, and it will send to the server by using this new data input s.get out get output stream, get that particular output stream. Here the buffer reader is nothing but to just as a console input, we are using buffer reader br object to read that particular buffer reader, and then it will print that particular thing using a buffer reader class. Then here there are two strings, okay, str and str2. Up to this point, this code is clear to everyone. Whatever I have mentioned, please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Next, next important thing here, what we have to do, we have to read and we have to write. So for reading and writing here, first we have to check, okay, is not equals to stop. Is equals to stop that particular string, then it will be stopped there itself. If not, it has to read something and it has to display something. So string br.readline, it will read and it will display. D out is nothing but object which can be write. Okay, that particular object is used to write on the output stream. So write UTF, okay, and D out, it will be flush. And then similarly for write UTF, it will write on that particular port. Similarly, string is this particular str2 object will read. DIN is an object. See here, I have used here DIN, data input stream object, which is going to be used to read that particular UTF. So whatever sent by my server, it will be read and it will be displayed. So what it will display? System.out.println server says. What server says? It will be displayed by using this particular str2 object and it will be displayed in that string. So read UTF is used. When we are sending anything to the server, we have to use dout object write UTF. So always remember, write UTF is for sending, read UTF is for reading from the server. And finally, we are using dout to close that particular connection, and S will be closed. First connection will be disconnected, client server, and then it will final closing that particular. So this is for client side code. Similarly, there is a server side code. So this what server will do? First server will be ready. So this code is clear, then I will go for server code. My client.java code is clear to you? Client code?
Yes, sir.
Good. So this is my server code. So here again, same, these are the same packages we have to use: networking, input, output package. The class name is my server. There is a my client, so my server. So the difference is that I already told you here. First, what it will do, the server socket and the socket class. So server socket, first what it will do, server socket SS, one particular socket is created, and then the communication is established with that particular socket. So with this particular port number, server socket will create one socket, and then the communication will be accepted by using this accept method. So accept method will take care of to establish the communication from client to the server. So socket s equal to ss.accept. This is executed means the communication is established. Accept method will indicate that the client is communication is established with the server. Then this code is same as data input stream is required, data output stream is required, as we you have already seen in the client code. So get input stream, get output stream. So whatever streams are coming, it has to be read from the port. So using get input stream, to send to the port, it has to be used get output stream. So this is used. So buffer reader again to read that particular input stream and print it, buffer reader. Similarly, two strings are used here. Same way, again it will be changed. If string is equals to stop, then it will be stop. If not equals to stop, then it has to read UTF. So see here, first client is sending. So what server will do? Server will read. So that's why string din. So this is reading it. So din is an object of, see here, din is an object of data input stream. The role of this object to read from read UTF. It will read the content and then it will print here system.out.println whatever client says. So my client says, it will print directly here. Similarly, after printing here, whatever br.read line it is done, then it can also write. So d out is used to write that UTF, and then it will write whatever client whatever server has written, it will be written on that particular code for the client, and then it will be d out flush to the client. And finally it will be close the communication, s dot close, ss close. Communication will be disconnected, and finally the end of this code. So this way it is happening. So can I run the code, both the codes, and can I show the output to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for this, I've already done. I will show you. Can you see the screen? First, you have to
Yes, sir.
run the server. Then you have to run the clients. Can you see the screen now? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I will tell you one by one. Just wait a minute. So these are our classes which we have seen. These programs. So already my client dot class file is created, my server dot Java class file is created. So first here, so you can see here Java C my client dot Java, then Java space my client dot Java to execute that client. This is the server side, server class. So you can similarly run Java C space my server dot Java to compile your my server Java file. Then to execute it, you can use Java space my server. So see here, first I have executed this particular my server dot Java class. And after executing, I'm executing here the client class. So see here, Java space my client. So both have executed. Then client is writing, this is the client to the server. So see here, client says whatever written client says will be printed on a server. So server has read and server has written it. Okay. Then server can reply to the client. Can you see this screen? Next,
Yes, sir.
yeah, server says hello. Okay, then client says hello server. So it is printed here. Client says hello server. So similarly, it is replying to that particular client. Whatever server reply, it will be shown to the client. So this is the both the way communication is happening from client to the server. So make sure that whenever you are making the both the codes, first you have to run your server class first. After running the server class, you can run your client class. You can send whatever data from client to the server. You can check, then you can reply it back to the client by using the server class, again you can make the communications. Continuous communication is happening, and at the writing stop it will be close that communication. So string, if you return a stop, it will be close the communication. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So similarly, you can use any programming language. If you are comfortable in any other programming languages, you can use that, or you can use the Java programming for doing this particular assignments. Okay.